Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World Daily with me, John Jordan. So the news we're looking at today is there is a fork of AXIE Infinity apparently in the works. So this in some ways is sort of funny, I suppose, and in some ways is sort of interesting because it's very blockchain. So I guess a bit of sort of definitions around blockchain. So anything running on an open blockchain is by sort of definition open source code. So anything running on a public blockchain, you can see the code because obviously the blockchain has to run the code, so the code has to be open. You can't hide the code. So that means anyone who wants to essentially it is sort of stealing a project, I suppose, because you're basically taking some code and you're basically sort of changing it probably in some way, or in other cases just maybe moving it to another chain, and that's kind of what's called forking. Normally you would take some code and modify it in some way for some particular reason. I guess classically we've seen things like Bitcoin as a blockchain, as a currency, go through various sort of arguments between the people who run Bitcoin, and some people wanted bigger blocks or however they want to. Generally that argument was between whether Bitcoin was a sort of useful payment system or whether it was more like a store of value, digital gold. That was sort of the argument, and then people sort of started forking Bitcoin, take the Bitcoin code, make some changes to it, and then create another version of Bitcoin. So we've got things like Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV and all these other sort of crazy things. And interestingly, what happens is when you do that is say there's Bitcoin running, and then Bitcoin Cash is created, and the element of the fork is everything. Everyone who had Bitcoin on the Bitcoin network now also owns Bitcoin Cash. So if I owned one Bitcoin and then Bitcoin Cash came along, I'd also own one Bitcoin Cash, because that's you basically kind of copied and pasted, you photocopied it to some degree. And obviously the point of that is it's all about community. So if the community within Bitcoin had a big argument, they couldn't agree within the framework, so a whole bunch of the people who were in the Bitcoin community basically said, well, we don't care, we're leaving Bitcoin and we're going to create our own thing, Bitcoin Cash. And then they sort of obviously tried to encourage people to use Bitcoin Cash. Generally what we've seen with forks is it's very hard to take enough of the community away from the original chain to actually gain any momentum. But I guess there's been things like Ethereum Classic and Ethereum, obviously that kind of again way back in the day, some problems there, and that split. We haven't seen it so much with individual games, but clearly that's a sort of in a way a simpler way of doing it. And this is sort of what we see here. Long introduction to AXIE Infinity. So this is a press release from a developer in Vietnam. The AXIE Infinity team, Sky Mavis, also based in Vietnam. It's a couple of well, we're now like a week old or so. But basically, what these people are doing are basically forking AXIE Infinity and bringing it to Binance Smart Chain. So Binance Smart Chain is a different blockchain to Ethereum, although it uses the EVM technology. So basically anything running on Ethereum, you can basically run it on Bitcoin Smart Chain. Sorry, Binance Smart Chain. And clearly there is a team. I don't know anything about them, so I can't really comment on that. But it seems like they are going to take the underlying AXIE Infinity code and do what they call an upgraded version of AXIE called Yo Hero. So it seems from what they've written here, which isn't always in the best English, but obviously they're not English first language people, so that's fine. So basically what happened here is it seems like there was a disagreement around moving AXIE Infinity from Ethereum to Ronin. So Ronin was the sidechain or the scaling solution, the L2 that Sky Mavis created themselves to run AXIE Infinity because it was too expensive to run on Ethereum. And these people who call themselves the SM community. Not quite sure where the SM community has come from. I don't know. It doesn't really say what this SM community is. But anyway, they basically were against this. They voted against the moving to Ronin, and they got really annoyed. And they decided they were going to create their own thing, which is, in some ways, sort of, this is one of the good things about blockchain. Is if people disagree with decisions, they don't just have to sort of stick there because there's nothing they can do about it. They don't just have to sort of leave and go and do something else. They can actually, go, well, if there's enough of us believe in this, let's go and just create our own version of AXIE Infinity, and sort of anyone can do that. It's an open, it's an open system. Now, of all the I guess of all the games I would try and fork, AXIE Infinity is probably not the one I would choose, because it's obviously being really successful at the moment. But clearly, you know, as something gets more successful, then people think they can sort of replicate that. And while I think doing that in this case is taking it to Binance Smart Chain is I don't think going to be a very positive step for them. Who am I to tell them that's the case? And certainly, yeah, they can just do it. So in a sense, this is a great example of what you can do with blockchain, and it is a sort of a cautionary tale for developers who've never really gone through this situation before, where literally if something changes in the environment that the bulk of your community doesn't like, they will just port your game and take it into a degree. You know, we could see that's been take the game away from the developers, because blockchain stuff is open and portable and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, so they're saying, right, so they've set up their own community. They say they've got a user base of 200,000. I'm not sure how that's measured. And basically we have Yo Hero, a version 2 of AXIE Infinity. So we have these fancy creatures, YOLO. We have the Yo token and the Yo HC token, which looks like it's some sort of stable coin. And it looks like very obviously, they're basically copying and pasting AXIE Infinity. So, well, that doesn't look like, it's not very clear. If they've got the two tokens that AXIE Infinity have in terms of governance, I don't know. Obviously, you can change things to a certain degree. We can see the artwork's different, so they've gone for this sort of cute kind of a style of artwork. Even looks 3D. Of course, this sort of thing this could just be a screenshot. This could just be sort of an artwork. The whole problem when you start having to make a game, you realise how hard it is to make a game. It's taken AXIE Infinity 3 years to get to kind of where it is, 3.5 years. So it's very simple to sort of put together things that look, oh, that's amazing, I'd really love to play that, but will it actually look like that? We don't know. But let's anything else. So we've got these NFTs, we've got the tokens. So it looks like they're sort of doing the Yo is like the governance token, and the YHC is sort of like the SLP, but a stable token. Don't know. Yeah, so it's SLP. So it's not stable at all. Yeah, so we'll just sort of see how they get on with that. You can kind of go through the sort of details here, and to a degree, there are things that people, I think everyone agrees there are sort of unbalances, things that are misbalanced in the AXIE Infinity economy at the moment. That's because it's grown so fast. The AXIE Infinity team say that, but they say they're not changing stuff for certain reasons, which is more to do with the long-term sort of benefit. So they're saying here that it's going to be much cheaper to play YOLO or Yo Hero, because of course it is, because no one's playing at the moment. It was pretty cheap to buy Axies back in the day. So as I say, sort of good luck to these people. And maybe they'll find maybe they'll find an audience, maybe find a different audience. So they're saying they're really into gold farming, which is great. If they designed a version of AXIE Infinity that's really much better for gold farming, and they can find a community that actually has value in that gold, then sort of good luck to them. It's not to say there's any one blockchain game that can be sort of kind of rule them all. There's going to be lots of blockchain games, so there's nothing wrong with people trying to do that. Let's have a quick look at the website. Okay, so this is the this is the kind of project background. So we've got development history here. So where are we? We are in September. So they've launched the website. They're going to do the first batch. Obviously, they're going to sell their NFTs. So this is where this is here where we are now, where they're going to try and raise money. And they reckon they're going to launch and test their basic kind of functionality in late September. And they're looking like they're going to have 500,000 players by December. I shouldn't laugh, because who knows? I mean, maybe lots of people on the Binance Smart Chain, loads of people on the Binance Smart Chain, maybe this is just what they're looking for, a sort of high-end sort of game. So difficult to say. In a roadmap, I would be wary about putting in numbers for things. In a roadmap, I would sort of say this is what we're going to do. You can't say what the audience is going to do. Let's see if the homepage. So there we go. Obviously, the thing to be nervous about here is there's nothing apart from a website, and then they're going to ask you for money. So that's always the nervous thing here, that this could be. I'm not saying this is a scam at all, but obviously until we don't know anyone, we have no idea really what's sort of going on here, and obviously you're trying to take away community from the from the blockchain game with the best community sort of ever. You know, it's a hard battlefield they've chosen to do here, but we'll see what's going on. But I think the more interesting thing here is it just really goes to show, you know, if people are annoyed, they can go and do their own thing, and that's, I think, for the overall blockchain game economy, ecosystem, whatever word you want to use, I think that's great, because that is giving the players and the community the ability, the power to do things that they wouldn't otherwise be able to do. So we'll keep an eye on what happens to Yo Hero. I don't think, well, I can say I won't be buying any myself. Not investment advice, not to say you shouldn't, but I won't be. But thanks for watching the video. See you again soon.